All right, so just to start out, in case you guys don't know, my name is James Maloney. I'm actually an agent in this office. Before I became an agent, I started teaching the concealed carry course for the state of Minnesota. I became certified with the state of Minnesota to do firearm instruction, and I'm also a certified NRA instructor, as well as a range safety officer. So safety is something that I'm very, very passionate about. So to start, what questions do we want to answer today? Do we have anything that stands out? Correct. What state do you live in? That would be what it comes. You live in Wisconsin? So you would actually have to get both. For whatever reason, the Wisconsin permit does not work in Minnesota. Minnesota's does work in Wisconsin. So if you live in Minnesota, you only need the one. If you live in Wisconsin, you need both. Any other questions or anything we want to talk about today to make sure that I cover it? Perfect. Well, then we'll kind of go over things. We're mostly going to talk about the myths of safety, things people believe work that don't. We're also going to talk about having safety plans, open houses, showing with clients you know and don't know, and then we'll go over any questions again. So we'll start with myths. The biggest myth I hear realtors talk about is code words. If they're at an open house, a showing, whatever, if they get in trouble, they'll call someone, they'll use a certain word or phrase, and that's going to be what they use to try and protect themselves, to have somebody else call the cops for them. They don't work. Unfortunately, if you try and use a code word, you're either going to make it too complex or it's not going to come up in this conversation fluid, and it makes it really difficult. What I find that works better is, instead of trying to set up a code word, set up a person first that if you call them during that time, you already know that that means you're in trouble. Does that make sense to everybody? So rather than trying to get a phrase, where you try and work into a sentence, if you call them, they know, hey, you need medical assistance or police help, whatever it is. You can set up multiple people for different things, but that seems to work better than anything else. The next big myth is meeting prospects at the office will allow you to vet potential threats. Yes, meeting people at the office first does help. Of course, public places are always better. However, do realize that that is not an end-all be-all. You're not going to be able to determine what people are going to do just by meeting them here. A lot of people now are saying to ask for an ID, a driver's license, and also a mortgage pre-approval letter. If they're willing to go through all of those steps, it's less likely. However, again, it's not a catch-all, but it is a lot less likely. The safety number 3 myth would be safety apps. So anything on your phone. I know a lot of people have smartwatches, things like that are connected. They have apps that you can push a button that sends out a distress signal. A lot of realtors are starting to use them. It's not popular yet. However, those are all going to be something that you use after it happened, if that makes sense. It's not really a preventative measure. It's more of a, hey, something happened, now let's do this. Again, wearable tech, they have watches, pendants, all that stuff. They're great. But again, it doesn't always help. And the biggest myth that I've run across in every situation, whether it's firearms training, realtor, whatever, is that just because you're a man, it doesn't mean you have to be as cautious as you do if you're a woman. That's completely untrue. Crimes happen to everybody. A lot of people think that just because you're a guy, you're not as likely to be a victim. It's just not the case. You still can be. The criminals, they like to look for people who are, not vigilant, not paying attention to their surroundings. It doesn't matter who or what you are. Does all of that make sense? Fantastic. Are there any questions so far? Terry? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can, absolutely. So some things that you can do, like I said, you can ask for a pre-approval letter, you can ask for a copy of their ID. What I like to do is I meet people at the office or a coffee shop first, just because I like the public place better. I will not show a house right away to someone I don't know. If I know you, then that's fine. If I don't, then I will meet you at a Caribou, Starbucks, the office, whatever you can. And then I go from there. Another thing you can do, bring another agent. Have somebody shadow with you. Just say, hey, this person I'm going to teach how to do this today. Clients won't care. Especially you can tell them, listen, this is a safety procedure that we use or I use in my business. So that would definitely be something that I would do. Any other questions on those? Perfect. Next, we're going to talk about a safety plan. So what a safety plan is a predetermined plan of what's going to happen in case you need police or medical assistance. Everyone should have one, not just our business, but especially in our business. We go meet strangers a lot. We go to a lot of random places to meet people we don't know. We are going to be more accident prone than other ones. So the first thing you have to ask is, who do you want to include on your safety plan? If you're with a team, it can be your team leader, a teammate, whatever. If you're not on a team, you can use your spouse, a friend, anybody. Just have it set up. So with me and Sammy, when she goes and shows a house and I'm not there, what she does is she lets me know what time she's going to be there and where she's going to be at. She calls me before she gets there and says, hey, I just pulled up to 123 Main Street. I should be done in the next 20 minutes or so. I'll call you when I'm done. She'll go do a showing, listing, presentation, whatever it is. And then when she's done, she gives me a call. Hey, I just wrapped up. I'm on my way back. Something as easy as that. Now, if she doesn't check in after X amount of time, I know, all right, something could be wrong. Let's try and figure it out. So it can be just as simple as that. And just make sure you have somebody who knows what you're going to be doing and where you're going to be going. Those are all things that are going to be very, very helpful to you as you go through and do things. Once you have your safety plan in place and you know who you're going to give it to, follow it every single time. Without fail. Even if you know them, I'd use it personally, but that's just me. But just make sure it's something that you are actually using. It's a lot of things we do in real estate. We always say we're going to do it, we make it, and then we don't do it. So that's as far as the safety plan goes. Does anyone have any questions on that? Awesome. Next, we're going to talk about open house safety. This is probably one of the bigger things that we have. So during an open house, there are a lot of ideas that realtors can do to protect themselves during, before, and after an open house. Before an open house, again, your safety plan is going to be your biggest thing. Tell someone where you're going, when you're going to be back, have it all set up beforehand. Involve someone who you know is going to be able to reliably help you, and always use it. Another thing you can do is schedule an agent preview. What you can do there is you can actually go into the house before you hold it open, take note of where exits are, where windows are, things like that. Anything that you can use to get away if you need to, or in case, and not just in case of criminals or anything like that, but in case of fires, medical assistance, anything like that. A quick 10-minute agent preview where you walk through the house, get a bearing of your surroundings, watch exit plans, things like that can save you a lot in the long run in case you're running around. So just like with safety plan, right before the open house, call someone. Give them a call, let them know, hey, I'm holding an open house at this address. This is the time I'm going to be done at. Call them when you're done. A lot of people bring safety items to an open house. That can be a cell phone, flashlight, batteries, the smartwatch I was talking about earlier that's capable of sending messages. A little thing a lot of people overlook is emergency contact in your wallet. What happens if you have a medical emergency in an open house and you're unresponsive? EMTs show up, they don't know who you are. Your name in a wallet with somebody's contact information to call just in case can be huge. Another trick that I learned actually when I first got here was if you're going to hold an open house, bring an extra pair of shoes. It can be men's shoes. Throw them by the door. It makes it look like somebody else is there with you. It's just a little trick that could help. You can also bring another agent or a friend or family member. Have somebody there with you. Not only is it good for safety, but in case you get bored sitting there if nobody shows up, it can help out. Items not to bring to an open house: expensive or flashy jewelry, large amounts of money. Some people say to leave your wallet locked in the car. Makes it so you know you're not as big of a person that they want to take. If you are carrying a firearm, however, make sure to have both your permit and your ID in your pocket. You need both of those things on you at all times if you're carrying. So if you do throw your wallet in the car, just throw those two in your pocket loosely. Does anyone have any questions about any safety items, things for an open house? Awesome. The most common things are someone is robbing the house. It actually doesn't involve the agent that much. What they'll do is they'll either be one person or two person. They'll go upstairs. They'll run through medical or medicine cabinets. They'll go through drawers, dressers, things like that. A way to prevent that: simply watch what they come in with and what they leave. If you notice their pockets are getting bigger and bulkier, you know they might have taken something. If they come in with a backpack, before I became an agent, I went to an open house and the realtor asked me to leave my backpack that I had on downstairs with them. I thought it was kind of interesting, but it's just something you can do. But that is the number one thing: is just robbery and theft of the house. Anybody else? Awesome. So now we're going to setting up the open house. When you enter the home, make sure to take time to lock the door behind you as soon as you walk in. That way nobody can walk in behind you as you're setting up, turning on lights, adjusting things. It's just a good habit to always lock doors behind you. If someone's waiting at the door for you, I don't know if you guys have ever had that where you show up at an open house and there's somebody waiting. I've had it. Tell them, hey, you know what? I need 5 minutes to make sure that you get the best first impression of this house you're ever going to see. And just have them wait outside for 5. They've already been standing there. They can stay out a little longer. If you do bring your extra pair of shoes, don't forget you can always throw them by the door right away. If you are having someone standing at the door for you and you want, or if you're a little bit hesitant about it, you can fake a phone call or call a friend and just say, hey, listen, I just showed up. I'll see you here in about 5-10 minutes. It makes it seem like you have somebody else coming along the way, and that can also help you as well. You can always program 911 into your phone and have it ready to go on speed dial. That can help. Any other questions about starting an open house, setting it up? All right, so during an open house, always face the door so you can see people coming and going. Always make a mental note of who is in the house and approximately where they are. That can help you a lot. Remember, if anyone makes you feel uncomfortable, you can always go outside and wait for them to leave. I've talked to agents who do that, where they'll say, hey, you know what? I have to go out to my car real quick. I'll be back in a minute. Now, if they're going to try and rob the house, that gives them a better opportunity, but it keeps you safe. So always make sure only the front door is unlocked. If you have people walking through the house, if they leave, just walk back through the house quick. Lock the back door. Make sure it hasn't been changed. Garage doors too. You don't want somebody able to circle back into the house without you knowing. Watch for distractions during the open house. A lot of times when people try and rob an open house, what they'll do is they'll have one person come in and talk to you, and then the other person will go through the house while they're talking to you and distract you. So just make sure, that's why always keep an idea of where people are. If you are alone in an open house, don't follow them going through an open house, giving a tour. You won't know who enters behind you. You won't know where anybody else is in the house. So I never personally give tours. Some people do. And then after the open house, once the last visitor leaves, make sure you lock all the doors before shutting down the home. Look around you when you go out to your car. If you feel uncomfortable, call someone. Talk to them on the way to your car. It can be a friend, family member. Doesn't have to be anything more than just a quick conversation. If you have to make multiple trips out to your car, just make sure you're watching the front door. You don't want to leave the door wide open. You go to your car and someone comes in as you're going to your car. Are there any questions about open houses? All right. One big thing for open houses that people are afraid of is squatters. They're afraid of people who are living in there that shouldn't be, who are staying in there that shouldn't be. Easiest thing to do is to, when you do that, either set up an even preview. Before you go into the house, walk around it. Look for broken doors, broken locks, broken windows. Anything like that is usually a pretty clear indication that, hey, somebody's in here that shouldn't be. If you feel somebody's in there, don't be afraid to call 911. Every police officer I've talked to has told me they'd rather respond to a false call than they ever would respond to an emergency. So if you think something's off, trust your gut. Showing homes to buyers. Before showing a home, make sure you try and vet all the info of the new prospective client. A lot of people now are going onto social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. They're actually studying people and learning about them beforehand. It can tell you a lot. As I said earlier, never meet someone at the home for the first time. always at the public place, whether it's the office, Caribou, or restaurant. Those all work. When you can, invite someone else with you. Just say, we're going to do shadowings. It's going to be great. I'm going to teach them how to do a shadow, or I'm going to teach them how to do an open house, whatever it is. Always have a safety plan. Just like for an open house, have the people you're going to rely on, the people you're going to talk to. Do agent previews. And again, always check around the house for broken windows, locks, damages, anything like that. During the showing, make sure you lock the door behind you so you and your client know that no one else enters the home behind you. Any doors that get unlocked during a showing, like a back door, garage door, sliding glass door, anything like that, make sure to relock before moving on to the next area of the house. Check your surroundings while exiting the home. And for buyer referrals, don't assume a referral is always safe just because someone referred it to you. You don't know who this person is. They may not know who this person is. It could be a work colleague they've talked to a couple times. So just never get complacent because you feel you know that person. Listing appointments are a lot harder than showings because there's a lot more variables that can happen in a listing appointment. Always have your safety plan. Try and bring another agent with you. If anything makes you feel uncomfortable during the appointment, you can always leave. Another thing you can do is you can schedule a two-step appointment. The first one you meet at the office, at Caribou, somewhere, talk things over, feel them out, and then go look at the house later. It's harder because you can't do an agent preview. It's not much you can do about it. And then for seller referrals, same as buyer referrals, just always make sure, check them out a little bit, play it by ear. Anybody have any questions about showings or listing appointments? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good piece of advice. You can absolutely do not show. You can wait by the front door. They can walk through the house. You can answer your questions if they have interest in it. Schedule an agent preview and come back through again if you're worried about it. But yeah, it is very important to keep the person in front of you. Any other questions? Awesome. So next we're going to talk about weapons and self-defense. So what is considered a weapon? A weapon can be anything used to defend yourself. So does anybody have any ideas what a good weapon could be? Gary? Pocket knife, perfect. Anybody else? Mace, absolutely. Pepper spray. Firearms are a good weapon. Batons, tasers, flashlights, those big mag lights. All of those can be used if you need to. What I can tell you about those is never assume that because you're carrying a self-defense weapon that you're safe. A lot of people have the mentality of, oh, I'm carrying X, Y, Z. Nothing's going to happen to me now. It's just a tool. A lot of people ask me, should I carry a self-defense weapon? That's personal preference. Some people do every day of their life. Other people never do. It all comes down to what you personally are comfortable with. The one thing I can tell you is if you're going to carry anything, train with it. Whether it be a firearm, pepper spray, knife, baton, no matter what, always train with it. Seek training from multiple sources and understand it perfectly. Before we go over NAR statistics, does anybody have any other questions? All right, perfect. So this just came out. It's the 2018 Member Safety Report. NAR publishes them every single year. So, as you can see here, the real estate professional experienced a situation that made them fear for their personal safety. 33% of people said yes, that has happened in the last year. That's 1 out of every 3 realtors. Common situations that cause fear: open houses, vacant homes, model homes, properties that were unlocked or unsecured, buyers who refuse to meet in public places, and properties in remote areas. So what can we do here to help alleviate this? For open houses, your safety plan. Vacant homes, Do an agent preview. Walk through it first. Check your broken doors, windows, things like that. Properties that are unlocked or unsecure. If you get to a house and the door is unlocked, I personally would not go in it. I would probably either I'd call the listing agent for sure. Depending on the situation, call the police too. Let them know, hey, I just want to get in this house. It's unlocked. They'll come out and check it for you. Buyers who refuse to meet in a public place. A lot of times, guys, follow your gut. If the situation seems wrong, it's because it is. If you have somebody who's refusing to meet with you in a public place, do you really want to work with them? As you can see here, it breaks down even farther, the stats. For 2018, 20% of males said they were in that situation, 41% of females. It is lower than it was in 2017. But for guys, 1 out of 5 guys have been in that situation, almost half the females. This breaks down how often they felt unsafe. For personal safety, about once a year seems to be the average. As far as personal information, it's spread out pretty evenly. Compare this stat to what you guys saw with people who felt they were unsafe. These were people who were a victim of a crime. 94 and 95% say they have not been. But 30 and I believe it was 40. 33 and 38 said they were. Or felt that way anyway. Apparently you can make the screen bigger when you swipe. These are the stats that I personally find most interesting. Self-defense weapon. 43% of members chose to carry a self-defense weapon. It is down. It was almost half in 2017. Majority carry pepper spray. It's a great tool to have. If you're going to carry anything on this list or anything at all, again, just make sure you train with it. Have you guys ever seen the videos online of the cops who pepper spray each other on accident when they're struggling with someone? Watch which way the wind's blowing. You can get it in the face too. Firearms, in Minnesota especially, it's been on the rise again. There's a lot of permits out there. Batons and clubs are a lot lower. Battery operated noisemaker, I'm not sure. Yeah, apparently it was replaced with the new technology. We now have battery operated ones. We don't even whistle anymore. We just push a button. There you go. I thought this right here is very intriguing. Females, 24% say they carry pepper spray. Males are only at 4%. That goes right back to what we talked about earlier. Being a man doesn't mean you have to be as cautious as when you're a woman. It's just not the case. Other than that, they're pretty even. When we were talking about smartphone and safety apps, 30% of people use the Find My iPhone feature in case their phone gets stolen. If you look at the rest of the things, it's not even on here. The next highest is 6%. Proactive procedures for safety. Real estate brokerage has standard procedures for agent safety. 27% of people said they don't know whether their broker provides safety information or not. So let's take a quick poll in the room. How many people know whether our brokerage here has a safety procedure in place for you guys? Yep. Most of them are online, but just keep those in mind. I will have to check with Mike. In all honesty, I am not sure, which I think is the funniest thing about this. I know we have a safety committee. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And again, I will be talking with Mike and Angela about it. Again, 20% don't know from 2017 to 2018. Typical respondent meets prospective clients whom they've never met before at their office 40% of the time. We should be doing this 100% of the time, and we're not. 62% have personal safety protocols in place that they follow with every client. There we go. So 62% have a personal safety plan. So exactly what we're talking about, notifying people where you're going to be, how long you're going to be there. 39% of members have participated in self-defense class. 19% have participated in a realtor safety course. These stats, as you see every single time, similar to 2017, unchanged from 2017. We need, as an office and an industry, to get these numbers higher. Taking a simple class like this, 73% feel more prepared for unknown situations after taking a course. This was sent to 53,000 realtor members. Only 3,000 people respond. Now it's too big. So about these numbers, does that shock you guys? Does that surprise anybody? Yeah. So today, what this class was intended for was just to get you guys more to brainstorm. What can you do to be safer, to feel safer, and things like that. So now for this next part, we can just open it up. We can do Q&A, whatever you guys want to do, or whatever you guys want to talk about. Is there anything on that list or that we talked about earlier that you guys want to get into further? Perfect. Yep, this is it. This is done. So we go straight. Mhm. Nope. Yep, you can call. Yep, you can call the police department. You can call medical, whatever it is. If it's a medical situation, that if you feel someone's taking something from an open house, call the police department. Just let them know, hey. And then I would also call the listing agent to talk to the sellers at the house. Say, hey, I thought someone might have taken something. You guys might want to look when you get back, and then they can report it with their insurance. Mhm. Yep. Yep. If you take the time and be observant, you can avoid 90% of the things that are on this list. A lot of it is common safety, a lot of it is common sense and following your gut. Like you said, if someone walks in, they don't have a purse, they walk out with a purse, you should be able to pick up on that something's different. You, yep, if you're in an open house and you have somebody who you feel is taking something, walk out, grab their license plate, whether they're still in the house or as they're leaving. Pretend to take a phone call. Say, hey, I got to take this real quick. Walk outside. There's a lot of things you can do that way. What else would we like to talk about?
How would you respond if you feel threatened
No, I would not be proactive in that regard. Yeah. Mhm. The easiest thing to do if you feel like you are threatened in a spot where you're about to be attacked, anything like that, the easiest thing to do is to get away from it. So whether that means going outside where it's more public, if you're meeting someone at the office, leave the conference room, leave your office, whatever room you're in. If you make yourself more public, it's going to be less likely that anything happens. To your point, I would not confront anyone in that regard, but definitely get yourself out of the way. If you're honestly feeling threatened, if you're at an open house, leave the house. Call the police department. Tell them, hey, you know what? I was just here. Someone was aggressive towards me. Someone did this. Would you guys mind sending out a car and check? They have no problem doing that. You can call 911 or the non-emergency. I personally would call 911. But yeah, just give them a call and say, hey, listen, I just had this happen at this address. Could you send a squad car? Come take a look. They'll dispatch somebody for you. In this office, I have no idea what the stats are. Nationwide, it says that violent crimes happen. It was between 2003 and 2009 is the last time it was reported with the labor statistics, and it was 75 times a year. And that would be nationwide. So yes, that number seems small, and it is huge for our profession. So yeah, on average, it was 75 a year. That was nationwide. Yep. Yep. Which again doesn't seem like a lot, but in our industry, that was a violent crime. Yep. So yeah. 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 Yep. You don't. Yep. Absolutely, and that's what this is to do. Is you guys make it work. We all still have to do our jobs. We're still going to meet people, even with all these statistics and everything. We're always going to do our jobs, but just make sure you're taking an extra step in involving someone else, like you did. Have somebody come out with you. Have somebody there at the house with you. If anything feels off, don't be afraid. Ask anybody in this office. I'm sure they go with you. Come find me. I'll go with you. I don't mind. All right. Anything else? Perfect. Then we'll wrap up early. If you guys do have any questions or anything comes up, I'm always around the office. Just come in, say hi. All right. Thanks, guys.